That's hard to say quickly. Corrupt corporate executive is defined as a senior manager, CEO, or owner of a major, definitely for-profit corporation who is out to make as much money and gain as much power as possible by any means available, regardless of who suffers. To that end, they are perfectly willing to violate business or social ethics, commit crimes ranging from fraudulent accounting to mass murder, and devastate Mother Nature and human communities, justifying those actions under the name of business. I mean, I feel like in this current political climate, that sounds a little bit too familiar. Anyway, they are confident that all they have to do is spread enough money around to get their way or avoid punishment, and are very likely to cross the moral event horizon and or become the unfettered in their search for profit. They are also very, very likely to be white or Asian and male, like CEOs in real life. Expect to find them at the head of an enormous boardroom table on the top floor of an evil tower of ominousness. That's a good trope. An evil tower of ominousness. He may be a bad boss, but not always. A few of them can actually be very decent employers, with employees who are completely in the dark about underhanded plans. If so, the public is often just as much in the dark. Naturally, this sort of villain tends to have an amoral attorney. That sounds like Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad, or several on his payroll in case he does slip up, and a stormtrooper army of security personnel who have carte blanche to commit any number and kind of violent crimes to get a good performance evaluation from the boss. If those resources fail, he often uses money to buy or even own officials. They usually fail to consider the full effects of their plan or the fact that they can make more by going legit, and at times the plans especially in popular culture. Typically, they are stereotyped as being so unattractive that only fellow nerds would find them desirable mates. However, it is interest and intellect that makes the nerd, not looks. And for some folks, intelligence is very, very attractive. This trope shows what happens when a character finds that a nerd is indeed sexy. The nerd's objective looks could fall anywhere within the wide spectrum of human attractiveness. All that matters is that a character finds something about the nerd that arouses his or her interest. If said character is in high school, he or she may grow up to be a hot scientist, which is another trope. Okay, that was quite a short summary. Let's have a look. Okay, Mean Girls is Miss Norbury, Kevin and Katie. Part of Katie's conflict is that she dumbs herself down to get a cute boy to tutor her. Okay, that's an interesting example. I guess that she isn't sexy because she's a nerd, because she pretends to be dumb so that he will like her, but apparently that counts. I love that movie. Okay, what's another? Okay, American Pie's Nadia is established to be attracted to geeks. The only reason Jim doesn't get with her in the first movie is that he was too nervous with her. Despite this, she tries it on with him in the second movie, only for him to eventually rebuff her when he realizes how he feels about Michelle, who herself is quite geeky. Nadia has to make do with Sherman at the party. In fact, the last film implies that Nadia is not completely over Jim. Okay, so this is a clear example because she is attracted to, thinks nerds are sexy. That's like really, yeah. Okay, I'll just choose another one. Okay. Under the TV section it says, this is pretty much the entire point of the Big Bang Theory. The boys on the show don't get laid in spite of their geekiness. Except Sheldon, for whom sex is less exciting than video games. He's probably not the only one who thinks that. They get laid pretty much because of it. The tagline is, smart is the new sexy. In one episode, Leonard shows Penny what he does in his laser lab. It's been implied that Penny's never actually seen his work, either due to a lack of interest or a fear that she just won't understand it. Once Leonard demonstrates it for her, Penny promptly tears his clothes off. Cool. The show didn't pick up on this right away though. Their nerdiness was presented as an obstacle to their getting laid at first. In an early episode, thus long before Amy comes along, there is a girl who becomes kind of Sheldon's groupie because she admires his scientific work and his intelligence. At one point she reveals to Penny that she is indeed also in a non-platonic way attracted to Sheldon, but deliberately restrains herself so that Sheldon's brilliant mind can be entirely devoted to his work without any distractions. Okay, I'll do one more. Random trope. Here we go. Okay, this is one I like. I feel like the first few were duds, but these ones I'm really like, oh, that's a good one. Okay, this trope is called Harmless Electrocution. From the same twisted laws of physics that allowed people to be frozen without problems comes harmless electrocution. Whether it's cartoon, comedy or action film, electricity just doesn't seem quite as damaging as other hazards. No, at worst you'll fall over with a non sequitur thud and be left with soot all over your clothes and face and your hair all messed up. Despite briefly conducting enough juice to make your skeleton visible through your skin, there'll be no lasting damage even from the most traumatic electric torture. Of course, in real life, electricity can cause skin burns, muscle damage and death. Even at low power levels, it can inflict great pain. Just ask anyone who has been the victim of a taser. description box. I'll put a link in the description box. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry that I don't post very often. I always say I'll be better, but I'm not, so just, I don't know. Who knows what the future holds. I've given up trying to. Anyway,